this, whatever this is, at about 11 years old. This is really a dream come true. I look on there and there's Dadgum Legends listed by my name. It just doesn't really seem right. It's quite an honor, and thankful for all the sponsors and for SFA for having us today. It's an incredible opportunity, and I hope that you guys look back on this and I'm more like the Thomas Walkup of this thing and not some scrub, you know what I'm saying? So here we go. I'm going to let it roll, and we're going to see what happens. Today I've been tasked with presenting on the subject of speed development, and that is an extremely broad subject, so I'm going to try to bring you today some concepts. Hopefully there's some things that you can utilize in your daily practices, and even if you're not a speed guy or a speed gal or someone that's tasked with just taking that on, you can take some good things away from this and apply it to your systems and your programs. My name is Bobby Stroop. I'm the founder and president of APEC. Some people say I own APEC. I think APEC owns me. But it's been an incredible journey for 11 years to this point. We started off on gravel and grass field, and we're blessed with some nice things at this point in our journey. I'm also an ambassador for Nike. I work for Nike. I'm in the Elite Trainer Network. That's one of 47 people that are tasked with reshaping the global mindset of training in the world. We come together at Nike World Headquarters and we brainstorm our ways to make a difference. In addition to that, I consult with them on several projects, from commercial shoots to branding to what should be their stance on this. And a lot of times they'll bring me in with a pretty bogus idea about making running shoes for kids, and I got to tell them honestly that I think it's not a good idea. So it's a cool relationship. It's given us a lot of opportunities, and it's something that I'm passionate about, trying to make a worldwide impact on. As far as continuing education, I can tell you straight off, it won't take you an hour to figure this out, but I'm not a smart guy. But I found out early that what I can do is find a lot of smart guys. And what I did is I found those people, and soon after that I realized that they're not all about just giving free information to strangers. So I paid a lot of smart people to learn. And this is just a list of a few of them. One of the things that I'm very proud of being a part of is the Gray Institute Fellowship of Applied Functional Science. I went through GIFT, and that was a humbling experience, and made a lot of incredible relationships. All these things, basically all these things represent an investment. And if you don't get anything away from what I present today, know this. Know that in this industry, it's continuing education. No one should post education because it's forever. You are a student forever, and you're always learning about the things you can improve and the things you can do better. And for me, my accountant and the people that I partner with on business think that I'm way over the top on continuing education, but I can tell you that every penny spent there is something that is going to help me influence and impact our youth, and ultimately help us provide for the families of my employees. And I think no dollar is wasted there. As far as background and influences, I started off working for a great man in Tim Powers. He's my mentor. He's my hero in a lot of ways. Tim was a trailblazer in the early 90s in the private sector, and still to this day, he's just a phenomenal person, a human being. And then I was lucky enough when I was in college to work for G.A. Moore as a coaching legend in the high school level, and I worked for G.A. and helped him. I wasn't there for all 11 state championships between track, baseball, and football, but he had an incredible influence on me on how to treat people and the importance of a high school coach. I tell people this all the time: if you want to make a difference in this country, it's not going to be about the president you vote for. It's going to be about getting behind your high school coaches, because they make influences on kids. And they make influence on kids, girls and boys, and he impressed that upon me. And nobody's got a harder job and is more underappreciated than high school football coaches, high school basketball coaches, athletic directors, and so on and so forth. What you'll see here, in addition to that, is some people that I have a personal relationship with, and some people that I just admire and that I've studied intently. I'm excited to add some more people to that list today after hearing these guys speak. I'm a fanboy at the end of the day, but these are some incredible people that have had just incredible. I put one book on there because The Sports Gene was really an eye-opening book that I read. Not that the concepts in that book were directly applicable, but that it just really showed me that there's so much more to what we do than just diving into science and training people. It was an incredible resource. So hopefully, if you can, getting some of these names and just learning from these guys is just, I think a huge thing. A little bit more about us before we get to the juice. We're in Tyler, Texas. Town of 96,000 people. We've had over 10,000 clients in 11 years, over 2,000 clients a year. In the summer, we'll have around 900 clients between athletes and adults and other situations. On an average month, around 300 clients, 150 per day. As far as athletes are concerned, we've helped support the organic development of over 150 Division I athletes and 20 professional athletes through our systems. When I say organic development, that means that we worked with them in grade school all the way up through the process. We're very proud of that. We're not the reason that they did it. We're blessed with a lot of genetic freaks walking in our door, but at the same time, at least we didn't screw it up. You know, we've done it a few times to where we're really excited to be affiliated with some great people. Super Bowl champions, Pro Bowlers, Heisman finalists, heavyweight champions. Maybe most proud of 7 undrafted prospects making NFL teams outright. I think that's an incredible testament to the work ethic that is bred in East Texas. We have an adult program that's just 3 years old or 4 years old, and it came as a necessity. People wanted an option other than CrossFit, and we were able to provide that. Our staff is incredible. That's the strength of us. I'm a guy that's here representing these people. This is just these people are the heartbeat of what we do. And if you look at our staff, it's 12 different coaches from 3 different countries with over 100 years of experience combined, diverse education across sport background. We're not all ex-football players. I was one, I wasn't a very good one. But you know, everybody's got a different background, from soccer, track, powerlifting, you know, everything else. And what that does, it gives you relevant experience to be with them psychologically, but it doesn't necessarily make you good at coaching that sport from a strength and conditioning perspective. We actually have the most strength and conditioning specialists in any one location in the country with 12. Again, we probably have too many employees, but I'm obsessed with good people, and I want to make an impact as best we can, more than I really want to make money. We've got over 67 certifications postgraduate between all the coaches, and that number's grown. We contracted with Nike, we already spoke about that. There's been 2 medical fellowships completed. I was able to learn from Gary Gray along with Lauren Holt, who worked for Exos and the Texas Rangers and Texas Longhorns previously. And we have a physical therapy assistant. We've been honored to present at multiple clinics, including Nike World Headquarters. If you look up APEC and Gillette actually came down and shot a international special on our Major League Baseball training, so if you're interested, there's an interesting video that they shot on us. And it's really some good insight into what we do with the Major League Baseball pitchers. And all that other stuff is fluff, but our facility, we're really blessed. We've got an incredible setup in Tyler, Texas. I wanted to build a world-class facility, not just something that was good for East Texas, but something that was grand on a worldwide scale. We want to give people the best, and Tyler and East Texas deserves that, just like SFA is here in NAC. I mean, they deserve that as well. Looking at our facility, we're incredibly blessed. We have no excuses. If we can't get the job done there, we can't get the job done, period. All right, so now to what you came for. You didn't hear me ramble on. You didn't come here to hear me ramble on about myself. What is speed? So right off the bat, I think we got to start off with talking about what is it. If we're going to talk about speed development, what is speed? So is speed a 40-yard dash? Is it a pro agility? Is it an L drill? You know, I kind of think that it's possible that as an industry, we're not really understanding the big picture of speed. You know, we have been programmed to think that speed is a 40-yard dash. And I'm here to tell you right now that it's not. And the reason that it's not, that's one component and one way to measure it. No question, we can't ignore it. But when I started APEC, we were working with kids on the 40 technique so intensely that I literally had some kids in high school. Now, some of you may not believe me, but I swear to you, they could run a high 4.3. And then we were so proud of their improvement. They mastered the 40-yard dash. We would go to their games. And I'll never forget watching the first game of a kid that ran a 4.3. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be unreal. Let me tell you something. He was one of the worst football players in that stadium. And at that point, what I realized is we're missing some things here. We're training these guys on a different sport, and we're not looking at the big picture for speed. And so I had to reevaluate what in the heck it is that we're doing when we think of speed development. And so you can't ignore that the 40 is an excellent measurement and a standard for coaches to compare people, but it's not a way to just solely train speed. Same with pro agility, same with L drill. I think in the private sector, our industry has really ruined, and it's created a void between the college and pro coaches and the private sector, because these knuckleheads, including myself, have been so wrapped up in these dadgum tests that they're not preparing people to play the game. And I think that's a shame. So, on to some speed development basics. Look, because of who we are in the market and what our role is, we are a supplement. What that means is we rely on good high school coaches to provide strength and conditioning. It's not advantageous to the athletes, it's not advantageous to us to go and redo their Olympic lifting, their core lifts, and their conditioning when they come to us. We know these high school coaches are giving it everything they got, and a lot of them do just a heck of a job. There's no reason to repeat that where we're at. So what that means is a lot of times when they come to us, we are working on some finer details of movement, because that's where we can fit and not overtrain them. Now what that doesn't mean is I don't believe in strength. Strength is king. If you can only work out an athlete 2 times a week, 1 time a week, 30 minutes a week, you better go to strength. I want to make that perfectly clear, because you've got to be strong to withstand the demands of your sport, regardless of what your sport is. Period. So, with that being said, understand that just because I'm speaking on speed today, that I don't think that speed takes priority, or anything for that matter. Speed, to improve speed, you must get stronger. Speed work is no substitute for the weight room. Now, you can be strong and not fast. We all know that. But one of the main reasons you need strength is to be able to handle the ballistic nature of speed. If your body's not strong enough and you do get someone very fast, they're going to deteriorate. I mean, like Coach will tell you later on, I'm sure, that you got an Olympic level sprinter, you better not sprint him as many reps as somebody that's slow. These guys burn up, they evaporate. Sports car. Can't run them hot. So the thing is strength helps you withstand and helps you facilitate speed. And that's something that I wanted to make clear, because I know a lot of you, I don't want to have a mixed message of my priorities. In order to increase speed, you got to move fast. That sounds really stupid, but you got to run fast to get faster. Right, Coach? This simply means that you need to rest between reps if you want to improve speed of any movement. Now, you're not going to go out there and run half gasses and improve speed unless you're 50 pounds overweight. Right? Know your energy systems. If you don't know your energy systems, alactic, anaerobic, lactic, anaerobic, aerobic, and then from there there's a ton of subsystems. That's not my presentation today, but I can tell you this. If you're focused solely on aerobic conditioning, you're not going to improve your speed like you could if you blend the energy systems and focus on the deficits there. And you need to make sure you rest. It's okay to let your athletes rest 3 minutes if you're truly in the off-season working speed. Now, if you're conditioning, that's not a good idea. But know what you're doing and don't do both at the same time. Speed is a skill. I know this for a fact because I do not have genetic talent, and I ended up running fast well, it was about 100 years ago, but it did happen. It has most to do with how well one can use gravity and body weight as a resource. We're gifted with a lot of power on this earth. The most powerful thing that we have is gravity. Tap into it. Utilize leverage, body weight. This can be learned, coached, gained, and lost. That's why certain body types that you wouldn't think are impressive can run fast. And that's why certain body types that look impressive cannot run fast. You've got to understand that it is a skill at the end of the day. It is different than throwing a football, but it's not different in the way that you acquire that skill. Body weight does not affect speed as much as body fat. If you're lean, you have the opportunity to convert your body into a weapon for speed. If you're fat, it's the same thing as you running and dragging bags behind your back. It's going to inhibit your potential speed. Now understand, it's all relative. It's not just about who's fast. That's what we need to do. That's silly. Some people are genetically gifted. But the point of reference is are you the best version of yourself? And if you are fat, then you are not. And you can look at Samoans and Tongans and say those guys can run and they carry a lot of body fat. That's right. But if they had less body fat, then they would run faster. Okay, so sometimes your best speed coach could be in the kitchen. You understand? Now that doesn't, and I'm not advocating to lose weight. What I'm advocating is body fat percentage there. All right, speed development basics continue. Plyometrics. Targeted power development in concert with the right movement skills will collectively enhance speed. Now be careful, because a lot of plyometrics are going to be greater than 250 milliseconds, and it's not going to transfer directly over to speed. Now you could argue that all strength, all power translate to speed on some level. It can, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it will. But there are certain type of depth plyometrics, shock plyometrics, and other three-dimensional plyometrics that are more advantageous in under 250 milliseconds in time and nature. And the thing about that is what you really want to do when you're targeting speed from a plyometric standpoint is you want to tap into the elastin fiber. If you're filling muscles and working muscles in plyometrics, you're not quite doing straight speed work. It doesn't mean it's not valuable. But what you want is you want to increase elasticity. And you want the body to work as a rubber band, as a system. If you're feeling your quads fire, I mean, you've never heard an Olympic sprinter win the gold and just be like, I really felt like my glutes were firing out there. Not at all. Feels like a breeze, like those power balls. Y'all know what a power ball is. Y'all didn't have the turnkey machine where a little ball comes out and you make your parents crazy by you throwing it around the room, right? That's what speed needs to be like. And plyometrics for speed need to feel that way. And if they don't, you're doing plyometrics for strength and power and stability, which is of value, but it's not speed development. Speed combines power, suppleness, and reactivity plus skill. Those things are important. You know, that's an incredibly complex statement. I could not sum that up in 3 hours, let alone 45 minutes, but understand that it's more complex than stride length and frequency and you know, that's a biomechanist looking at speed, not a coach. Okay? Suppleness is something that is, I think, been long forgot with all these YouTube videos and fads of training. But that is a component of speed that is never going to go away. It's a principle of strength and conditioning. For someone to improve speed through technique correction, they must complete the stages of correcting a movement or skill. And I think this is I mean, look. The guy that explained this to me, he gave me like a mafia reference. This is incredible. I mean, this is incredible. Tim Powers. He says, look, there's different types of power. And he was equating how to learn skill. And if you can't see that. And basically he said, if I'm a mafia, head of mafia, I come out of nowhere, you don't even know that I know you, and then I kill you. All right? And then he said, you know that I'm upset with you, and then I kill you. And then he said, after that, you know that I know you, you know that I'm mad at you, you know that I'm going to kill you, and then I do kill you. And he said, after that, you're aware of a full plan of how to defeat me, and you're there, and then I still come after you, and you're able to finally get out of the situation. And if you look at it from skill development, unconscious incompetence basically means you're unaware that you suck at something. Alright? Conscious incompetence basically means, alright, I'm not very good at this. So you're thinking about it. But when you're thinking, you're not reacting, so you're not purely displaying athleticism like you should. It's like a football player that you know is an unbelievable football player. You know, we had Pat Mahomes in high school, and we worked with him a ton. And when he got to Tech, you know, when he first got out there, he looked like a space cadet. You think that's because all of a sudden Pat Mahomes started being bad at football? No, it's because he was thinking about his reads. He was thinking about his steps. How does Coach Kingsbury want me to hold the ball? All right? He was in this stage, conscious competence. That is not the high level. Now, mastery is when you move to unconscious competence, meaning, you know what, I'm not thinking about it. I'm going to go out here and do my thing, be a dog. That's when you master speed. So you got to go through all these things. So I always giggle when somebody signs up with us, they want to do an 8-week program. They go on vacation 3 times. You know, after 8 sessions, well, my 40 didn't improve. I'm like, well, yeah, your brain didn't improve. You know, you think you got gypped? We got gypped on this still. I didn't even get to here, right? And they're so hung up on a dadgum 40, they can't see the big picture of what they really need to be doing. So, linear acceleration. I know you came to hear some topics. This is one that's a hot topic. Basically, how much ground force an athlete can utilize, produce, compared with the body weight gives you acceleration. That's a very simple formula. Obviously, it's more complex than that. We're going to start with that. Okay? Why is it important to get strong? That's important. You know, I used to have a table, and long since I've kind of gone away from this because, you know, for various issues, but I used to tell a kid, look, if you can't squat 2 times your body weight, there's no way you can reach your height and speed potential. If you can't deadlift 2.5 times to 2.25, there's no way. Now, I think that sometimes there's some roadblocks, and I've learned as a strength coach I probably shouldn't be so hard on things like that. But I do think that that's important. There are some standards. Now, there are also some standards when your body switches over to being more dominant in those types of movements. Those slow movements, they're still important, but it can take away from speed. We had a running back that went to TCU when he was a freshman, had his best season of his career. Basically beat Utah by himself. Matthew Tucker, he rushed for 100 yards. He was a true freshman, and at their place, they were like number 3 in the country. Well, every year he got a little bit worse. But he was squatting 720 as a tailback in Division I. Well, finally, the strength coach up there is a great strength coach. He quit letting him squat and made him stretch the whole time they did lower body days. Came back out, had a better year. Translated into the NFL. Now we can't let him lift more than once a week lower body. He has restrictions. You know, he's got to stay strong, but he has restrictions. Most people think about the 40 when they're talking about acceleration, so let's talk 40 for a second. You're not going to get a lot of 40 talk today, but I'll give you some. 0 to 10 yards, 6 steps to 7 steps. Now that's a benchmark. If they're taking 12 steps, you got a problem you need to fix. All right? If they're taking 4 steps, and most of the time, if it's not a high-caliber athlete, I'm talking kinesthetic genius, they're going to be loafing like a big dog, overextending to get there. So you don't want to get in their head, oh my gosh, you got to get her in 6 steps, and have these guys overextended, creating all these errors in movement, biomechanical patterns, and getting strided out even. This is a point of reference, not always something that needs to be communicated to kids, because as you know with coaching is not what is said, but what is heard. And so you start communicating things like this, you need guys reaching out as far as they can, pulling hamstrings, and they're only going to be as tall as they are fast. That's a problem for guys like me, right? Or as fast as they are tall, and that's a big problem. All right, 10 to 25, 5 additional steps. 20 to 30, 4 to 5 steps, 30, 40, 45 steps. Under 20 steps for 95% of true 4 or 5 guys. I'm not talking about stopwatch heroes. I'm talking about laser. Laser and Jesus. That's what I'm talking about right here. Okay? Now, they say that Dion took 13 steps. Boy, I would love to see that. They say Bo Jackson took 14 or 13. That'd be unbelievable. You know, we had a guy, we've had a few guys run really fast, but I've never seen anything like that. That's just point of reference there. Acceleration techniques stand alone because you're in a still position. So if you're working true acceleration, like firing off the ball or coming off the line, it's unique because in most other sports, you are moving as a pretense to acceleration. Soccer players are moving. So when they accelerate proprioceptively, it's a completely different sensation for the body. It's absolutely different. And so this is a unique thing. And what you're really, starting strength is really applicable to all types of strength and power. This is more of a strength and power movement than a pure speed type of movement that you're training here. Now, I'm a big person on external cues. Today's not sports psychology, but if you look back at my continuing forever education, I'm pursuing a master's in sports psychology right now. And what I'm learning is that external cues are a lot more valuable than internal cues. Meaning, if you tell them to raise their butt up or put their knee here or dorsiflex, it's a lot less effective than telling a kid to hold a paint bucket with his foot. And the reason that is because if they really knew how, if you tell them to fire their glute or do this thing, make sure your foot's here at an angle of 30, I want 33 degrees of this, that, and the other. If they really knew that, you would know it. You would know it because they'd be a kinesthetic genius. They could hear and do just immediately. But we don't work with people like that on a large basis. We don't. And so the brain works off of visualizations and word pictures. The more senses you can bring into what you're coaching and the more that you can give them cues externally, the better they're going to grasp it. Because people are visionaries. And the visualizations play a role in your brain, and you can more easily do that than even watching yourself in the mirror. So here are some cues. When we're doing acceleration, I tell them to take off like a jet, not a helicopter. Mow the grass with your shoes. You know the problem? Coaches are so in love with track. You know, high school coach, we're going to run track and we're going to be fast. You know what? I love track and I do think that works. Here's the problem with acceleration is, if you guys all probably know some people that are really good at track and field, but they're really bad at power sports. If your foot's up here, and this is the way you like to run, Can you go right or left? No. Emmitt Smith, you go back and watch his film, his feet were rarely above right here. And then when they got higher than that, he wasn't very comfortable. Okay? Does that mean he was slow? Absolutely not. But acceleration, you've got to keep your feet down because you've got to keep gravity and angles as part of your process there. Tear off your sleeves. I'm trying to get guys to be violent. Get big off the line. I told them, if you're scaring a bear, show me how you scare a bear. Get off the line. Break the glass. It's about front side mechanics. Leave the ground behind you, pushing away. We say triple extension a lot. Coaches talk about power clean. This translates best to speed and power. Hang clean. It absolutely does, and the reason is because triple extension. You're getting fully extended, throwing a med ball behind you. Triple extension. These things are applicable to acceleration, but we got to communicate. Top of your head is the tip of a bullet. You don't shoot a bullet like this, so I don't want anybody accelerating off the line like this. Get the tip of your head down the starting line or down the finish line to your target. First 3 steps are a 50 cal. Y'all ever seen that new Rambo movie? Y'all probably judging me now. All right, so no, it's not that new, right? The newest one is like 65. Well, anyway, he cuts some guy's head off. He gets on the back of the truck and said 50 cal. Y'all seen that? Whoop, whoop, and then like, dude's bodies are flooded. It's pretty sweet, right? Well, you've seen everybody's seen Jason Bourne. He comes in here. He's got a pencil. He's stabbing people in the face. He gets a 22. Okay, this is not a 22 exercise, 22 cal. This is a 50 cal. You've got to translate that. Pistol grip pump shotgun, not a BB gun. So off the line, the mentality of the athlete's got to be 50 cal. You don't rush these steps, you finish these steps. Acceleration is about finishing every step with skill, and it's about power. If you guys aren't strong in the weight room, they're not going to accelerate well, but they might run well. But that's not very applicable speed in most power sports. You've got to be able to accelerate. Tractor tire arms. Get big. Laying carpet with knees. I've got some black for this, but you see guys laying carpet, they got the knee pads on, and some of y'all might not. I did a little more manual labor in my day, but if you can get their knee angle down, that can create a good word picture to where they're going to stay down and continue to accelerate and utilize gravity all the way through their acceleration phase. As far as progressions are concerned, I'm a firm believer in wall drills. You can look up a ton of wall drills. I love sled drags, marches, pushes, pulls. Mainly, I love the wall drills, but you can't stay there, but it teaches them how it feels when they're in that position. And biomechanically, they're moving through those movements. It's important for them to understand how that feels. Now, my problem with wall drills is people want to do them year-round, and nobody ever translates or moves on to the next phase. That's not... Wall drill is not really speed development. It's the same. It would be the same as doing some kind of a high pull in order to get someone to be efficient and effective and powerful at Olympic lifting. Is a high pull a waste of time? Absolutely not. But you're not going to only rely on the high pull when you're trying to really maximize your explosion and trying to get to a high level on Olympic lifting. It's somewhere that you start, and it's important. But you got to move on. Marches, skips, bounds. You want to add those? Those are simple. Do them. Okay? If you want to make it harder, add an overhead component. That's going to really have the lower body rear its ugly head on what's really going on with the hips, what's really going on with their subsystem of their core, how their body is truly coordinated. Because when you start moving your arms, you get the benefit of the T-spine masking a ton of deficiencies in the lower body. Once your people can master simple movements overhead, add resistance, not before. Okay? Starts. Acceleration is about starts. Split stance starts. Form starts. Work your 40. I don't care. Work a 3-point. Okay? Go from the ground. Do get-ups. Roll over. Be on your back. Hands up, hands down. Position specific. Add resistance. And if you are efficient and you don't have people overstriding, then overspeed them. But if you do have people that don't have great technique, if you put overspeed bungees on them, every one of us probably tied a, that's a little older, probably tied the bungee to the goalpost, back up 100 yards, take off. One of you pops a hamstring, it's a good day. 13 of you are doing it, it's okay. Somebody got faster, right? You got to be careful with overspeed. It's a great tool, but they got to be technically sound. Superset plyometric. So it's proven that post-activation potentiation works. So supersetting a plyometric with a sprint, it's effective. Here's the trick. You're going to need 2 to 3 minutes rest in between sets. I mean, you can do your plyometric and then sprint, but then you have to rest. And there's various studies on that where plyometric 3 minutes, then sprint. There's all these plus 2.8%, plus 3.5%. It works. It's effective. Load the gun, shoot the bullet. Load the gun, shoot the bullet. It's an incredible